Jimmy fucking Butler. Jimmy Butler giving you the moment of the season for the Miami Heat. 118-116 buzzer beating game winner for the Miami Heat. And it was a much needed moment for Miami. It looked like this one was slipping away for the Heat in a fourth quarter that was quite frankly dominated by the Chicago Bulls. DeMar DeRozan, Kobe White deciding to show up all of a sudden in the fourth. Those two guys were putting on a hell of a show. Miami Heat having their hands full. These guys making some tough buckets, but Jimmy Butler taking it home for Miami in this one in a much, much needed win. We talked about it going into the week. This is a week I wanted Miami to go 3-1 against Chicago and Charlotte. 4 games against the same two opponents. You know that the cavalry's coming home. You got some of the bodies back today, but Jimmy Butler, I really feel like this is such a huge moment of this season. First of all, you have some people out there that say, oh, Jimmy's taking a step back. Jimmy's declining a little bit. No. Miami Heat did a beautiful thing with Jimmy Butler today where they were setting him up. And I think that was one of the big things. You know, Jimmy was taking a lot of this weight up on himself, and he was initiating a lot of offense, and he ended up kicking out to guys and getting them plays. Today, it was a very different thing. Early in this game, they were looking for Jimmy, cutting, running, big-time plays, set him up for some easy baskets, get him on the board quick. And I think that was huge. I feel like it engaged Jimmy quickly. I feel like it got the mindset there for him. But this fourth quarter, he had 3 huge plays. But Jimmy Butler had a huge fourth quarter. Miami really attacked the boards. It was one of these things, struggling to get some buckets. And it really was just put in with tenacity and effort on this part. Because Kyle Lowry misses a 3-pointer. Caleb Martin was right there to put in a dunk. Kyle Lowry gets in there looking for a layup. Jimmy Butler was right there for a putback. And then that gets Miami the lead, 112-111. Kobe White then puts the Bulls back on top, 114-112. And then you have a beautiful job by Jaime Jaquez Jr., who Jimmy missed a 3-point shot after the Kobe one. This Jaime Jaquez Jr., I mean, he is just energy. He is electricity. It's pretty wild because, you know, you think of Jaime's early first quarter of this season and you think, man, can slow the game down at his own pace, footwork, pretty bag, everything that he's got. Today, it was like the effort, the hustle plays, the fast breaks, the dunks were all there for Jaime Jaquez Jr., so he gets a huge dunk off of a monster offensive rebound. That gets the game evened up. Then Kobe White comes in. He gets a bucket on Jimmy Butler to make it 116 apiece. And then you have the play of the game, really. I mean, the play of the game before the play of the game, where DeMar DeRozan, who was cooking in this fourth quarter, he was such a handful for Caleb Martin. Caleb Martin was basically taking him on defense the entire fourth quarter. And Jimmy Butler is sneaking in behind, doing those just heady Jimmy Butler defensive plays. They get the steal on him. Caleb Martin gets the ball, finds Kyle Lowry for the bucket that makes it 116 apiece. Vucevic comes down. He misses a 10-foot shot. And then Jimmy Butler with Kobe White on him. That one that, you know, that patented Jimmy Butler, you see him working on all that stuff in the off season. You see him working at it with his trainers. You see him working at it before the game. Jimmy Butler, step back jump shot, boom, at the buzzer. Miami Heat get the win, 118-116. Just absolutely huge on this one from Jim VP to get this one done. You got to love it for him. He really was fantastic today. He brought everything to the table, and this is a tough Bulls team. No, their record stinks, but you know, without Zach LaVine, it seems like they're playing with a little bit more connectivity. They have a lot of guys who can fill it up for them. A lot of guys. Patrick Williams was awesome today for them. You know, Kobe White was stinking up the joint and then just basically helps them take over and grab a grip on that fourth quarter. DeMar DeRozan, whether he's going to be there or not, always a pain in the ass, always a thorn in the Heat side, and, you know, especially means something to him going against Jimmy and Kyle, two guys that he's very, very close to. So it looked very much like it was going to be him and Kobe White taking this one, and Miami was able to will it home. A huge effort and energy there towards the stretch to get this one home, and I just thought it was really, really needed for them. You know, This is you got a big week coming up with some big time games. It seems like the cavalry's coming with Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo returning soon. You got Haywood Highsmith today. That was great. You got Jay Rich back today. That was great. But to get one like this, I think for Jimmy has to mean a lot because people always go, "Oh, does Jimmy care about the regular season? Is Jimmy giving full effort? Jimmy Butler really just did all of the perfect things that you love about his game today. And you go and look at it from a scoring standpoint, is efficient, gets the free throw line 11 times tonight, and then just to put that cherry on top to sink his former club. Imagine not wanting to build a franchise around that guy. Idiots. It was tremendous from him. And this game couldn't have been done tonight with a lot of guys around him as well. Kevin Love was a monster today, 4-4 from downtown in the fourth quarter. Miami really was hitting the three ball like crazy. Then things kind of flipped in the second quarter, and it was a big day for Chicago up into the break. And into the break, the story was the shooting. Miami hit 10 from downtown. Chicago hit 11 from downtown. Miami went into it with a 1-point lead. They came out of this thing, and, it was a closely contested affair from all around. This, the connection that Jaime and Kevin Love had with one another, that the Brew Crew, the UCLA connection is really, really cool. Jaime Jaquez, taking that patented Kevin Love outlet pass after he forced a turnover on Vucevic. Vucevic was feeding him some buckets, and that was a really, really cool play to get from it. And then, dude, Kevin Love threw this one pass to Jimmy Butler, and Jimmy, who has said before, don't call him a tight end. He's a wide receiver, best hands in the league. And he has this grab over Vucevic for a bucket to put Miami up 76-74, get them back the lead. Really, really awesome. And this was just speaking to him again, where people today, I thought the big difference for Jimmy, because Miami went on a big-time run to end this third quarter. And then, this has kind of been the story of the season. They seem like they have these things in control. They're up by 11 going into the break. But, these fourth quarters have been a little bit of a pickle. I think a lot of it has to do with not having that go-to guy at the start of these fourth quarters. It allows teams in. And then you got Jimmy in. Jimmy's a little bit cold. I think that's going to help a lot when you get Bam and Tyler back. Obviously, that's gonna fix some things and get things back in the right path. But Jimmy certainly was getting some great help today. One of the guys that you really have to give it up to is Caleb Martin. Caleb Martin was tremendous. He had, first of all, he was D'ing up DeRozan. He's which is always a tough nut to crack. It's a tough guy to corral. But he had just some monster shots. He had this one-legged fadeaway as the shot clock hit 0, and it put Miami up 2 at the point. And, you just got to give it up for him. He really was just so impressive in bringing that energy. And I think that part, you wonder with him, has that part been there for Caleb all the way this year? I don't know. But that today I felt like, oh man, his impact was there defensively and it was there offensively for Miami. So that dynamic two-way player that we've come to know was very, very present in this game. But the star of this, the star of this game, the star of the story of it all, Jimmy Butler getting it done at the buzzer, gives you kind of that moment riding high into a very, very important week for Miami. You got a big game against Minnesota coming up on Monday, one of the best teams in the West, and Jimmy Butler's former club. Always a team that Miami has really, really, really struggled with since they traded for Jimmy Butler. So you get the number one team of the West coming in here, couple of games in a row. Let's see if you can kind of put a signature little moment for you, especially if you get Tyler and Bam back. I'm not sure. It hasn't been set in stone that is going to be the case, but it looks like momentum is trending that way. I am doing this before Spo speaks, so if Spo does mention that, go easy on me in the comments, y'all. But I just think in particular, getting this one done and having this moment with these matchups coming up against Orlando and against Minnesota this week, just feels like it gives you a little pep in your step, gives you a little bit of a burst. And, I think it could shut the hell up everybody who was questioning, is Jimmy Butler declining? Is Jimmy Butler give a rat's ass? Today was a rat's ass given game. And it showed you why you trust that guy in big time moments, why he is your star, why he is the face of your franchise right now. I don't like comparing the two because I don't like comparing anybody to D-Wade, but D-Wade dealt with a lot of this stuff after the Big Three era too, where people would scoff and doubt and say, is he the same guy? And do you trust this guy? And be like, he's Dwayne Wade. Like, what are we talking about? Thou shalt not doubt Dwayne Wade. It's the first Heat commandment. And right now, in current day, thou shalt not doubt Jimmy Butler. He's Jimmy Butler. You don't do it. And so Jimmy gives you that moment today, sends the Bulls the hell home. And a nice week for Miami, especially banged up.